Hey, it's the starting five. I'm Yaron Weitzman, and here are 5 reasons why the Knicks are in trouble. Number one, Julius Randle is back to being Julius Randle. And this one was pretty predictable. We probably could have all seen this coming. A good rule of thumb in general is that if you have an outlier of a season, in the greatest outlier of all seasons, which was last year, pandemic, empty arenas, lots of weird COVID-related stuff, it's probably fair to assume that that sort of season will not be replicable. If you look at the difference with Randle between last year and previous seasons in his career and what propelled him to success, it's that the dude hit every contested jumper. He was on fire from three, from long twos, everywhere. Here are some numbers. Randle shot 41% from three last year. This year, he's down to 36, which is a good mark, but considering how much he struggles finishing at the rim, he's not explosive, he doesn't jump very well, it's not good enough for him. The other big number, the big difference for him last year was that those long twos, he shot 44% on those, by far a career high. This year, he's down to 26%. That's a huge difference, and that's a big problem. You can also tell that Randle is having lots of trouble adjusting to the fact that the Knicks now have other weapons on the offense. And this is the Julius Randle paradox. He's at his best when the entire offense runs through him, but when the entire offense runs through him, you have a ceiling on your team. Number two, last year's defense was great. This year's not so much. And look, we all know what the difference was last year for the New York Knicks. Tom Thibodeau came in, completely remade their defense. They finished with the league's 4th best defensive rating. This year, that number has fallen all the way to 16th. Now, some of this is by design. The Knicks, after getting smoked by the Atlanta Hawks in the playoffs, decided to go out and bolster the offense. They knew they were bringing in guys who were not great defenders, and to be honest, I think most of us would agree that this was the correct call. If you watched them play the Hawks last year and you watched how they were exposed on offense, you knew they needed more weapons. But I don't think anyone expected the defense to fall this far. What's been the biggest difference? The major issue is that the Knicks are getting smoked from behind the three-point line. Last year, the Knicks had the league's best three-point defense. Opponents hit just 33.8% of their threes against them. That was tops in the NBA. This year, that number has gone up to 35.6%, which puts them in the bottom half of the rankings. Only the Rockets give up more wide open threes, according to NBA tracking data. No team gives up more catch and shoot threes, which usually come from dribble penetration after an offense breaks down a defense. So what's the problem here? Who's to blame? Part of this is Julius Randle his energy on the defensive end has regressed to Fizdale era levels. RJ Barrett gets lost too often. And also you can argue the Knicks got lucky a little bit. There's lots of data out there that shows that opposing three-point percentage is not exactly something that defenses can control. Either way, if you're looking for why the Knicks starting lineup has been outscored by nearly 18 points per 100 possessions, which is one of the worst marks in the league, look no further than the struggling defense. Number three, Kemba playing in the Garden wearing a Knicks uniform. It's a nice sentimental story, but if the Knicks are looking to win games, they might have to think about replacing him in the lineup soon. Kemba in his prime was so good. He was one of my favorite players to watch. The smooth handle, the silky jumper, the smile, the way he carried himself. Everyone loves Kemba Walker. But there's a reason the Boston Celtics were willing to part with a draft pick to get rid of him, and we're seeing why. He's on a bum knee, he's 31 years old, he can no longer turn the corner, he can no longer get into the paint. When he does get into the paint, he struggles finishing. He's shooting 44% at the rim, that's one of the league's worst marks. More than 50% of his shots are jumpers that come from behind the arc. He's basically a jump shooter who can't play defense now. We all wanted this to go really well, but it is not. If you're looking for why the starting lineup has struggled, look no further than Kemba Walker. Number four, the bigs are banged up. Nerlens Noel, who was a revelation last year as a backup center, has played just 4 games due to a series of kind of weird leg injuries, some hamstrings, some knee stuff. The Knicks have been kind of coy about what the issue is. Starting center Mitchell Robinson has a history of injuries and already is dealing with a foot problem. And look, we all love Taj Gibson. Watching him do what he's doing at the age of 36 is incredible and a ton of fun, but well, he's 36. You can't count on him. And here's why this is a big concern. The Knicks' entire defensive scheme is predicated upon big men protecting the rim. They want all dribblers to come into the rim. They want guys like Robinson, Noel, Gibson to make life really difficult for them. And when they're healthy, it works. Take any of them away for extended periods of time and the entire defense could fall apart. Number 5, the East is loaded. If you look at the 15 teams in the Eastern Conference, only 2 of them, the Orlando Magic and the Detroit Pistons, are teams that you would consider bad. You mentioned the Magic. The Knicks have already lost 2 games to them at home. And then just look at the rest of the conference and the teams that will be fighting for the top 6 playoff spots. You have the Bucks, Nets, let's pencil them in. I'm putting the Heat there also. I'm putting the Hawks, Sixers, and Bulls up there as well. That's 6 teams right there. Never mind the Hornets, Wizards, and Celtics. That's 9 good teams, and we haven't even gotten to the improved Cavs, the feisty Raptors, or the deep Pacers. And this is where the Knicks have a problem. Where exactly do they fit in? I'd be shocked if they crack that top 6. To me, I feel like they're going to be fighting for that 10th and final play-in spot, which is something they could miss, and that's fine. The Knicks and Leon Rose, since taking over the reins 2 years ago, they have done a really good job of not investing everything in the present, of keeping their eyes on the future. But they also work for James Dolan in Madison Square Garden, who has never been big on patience. He has never been somebody who's been okay with planning for the future. Tom Thibodeau, you could say the same thing about him, right? We know he is not somebody who is here to build for the future. He wants to win now. How do all these different parties react if the Knicks find themselves fighting for the final play-in spot? And if they find themselves on the outside looking in come the end of the regular season? To me, these are some fascinating big picture NBA questions. That's your starting 5 with Yaron Weitzman. Keep your eyes peeled for the next episode coming soon. And for more great NBA content, be sure to check us out at foxsports.com, the Fox Sports app, and the association on all social media platforms.